another session in Hive. So we're going to talk about the complex data types. So what are complex data types? We have 5 different complex data types. There are mainly 3, which are arrays, maps, and structures. So what is an array? Array is a list of items of same types. Same types could be integers, it could be strings, or any other data type. So they can be accessed using the index, and the index value starts with 0. And the map is a key value pair. They can be accessed using the name of the key. Structure, in structures you can use different kinds of data types. You can mix them up, and if you don't give any column name, you can call those values with the column names as column 1, column 2, and so on. And the structures can be accessed. If you have a column name, you can access with that column name. And we have 2 other types, which are name structures and union. They are not that commonly used, so we're going to talk about the first 3, which are arrays, maps, and structures. So we're going to jump into the demo, and for this demo I'm getting the data and example from this book called Apache Hive Essentials. It's a very good book. If you want to learn Hive, I think this will help you a lot. So let's jump into the demo. Okay, so I'm already logged into my VM. So I'm currently using the HortonWorks sandbox. So I'm logged into my sandbox. If you want to understand how I logged into the box, you can look at my other sessions. So I'm already in the box, so let's check the folder. So what I want to do is, for this example, I want to get the data and the code from my Git repository. So if you go to my Git, in the Hive folder, you see this file called complextype.html. You can access this file. It has the code for creating the table and loading the data. And for the data, you can go to the data folder and access the file called employee.txt. So that is what I want to use for this example. So I'm going to click on the raw, copy the URL, go to my machine, and type wget to get the data from that file. So I downloaded the file. So let's check your local file system. So you see the file called employee.txt, which I downloaded from my Git repository. If you want to check the data, type cat. Okay, so this is the file. It doesn't have any header. It starts with the data rows. So the first row has this value called Michael, second is the value called 100. So what are the column names? Actually, we are creating the column names. So if we go back, I will paste these URLs under the description. So don't worry about the URLs. So the column names I have defined within this code. The first column name is name. The second column name is employee ID, and so on. So they represent the names of these columns. Okay, so I want to move this file to my HDFS folder. I have a folder called so to access the HDFS folder, the command is hdfs dfs ls -ls. I want to put it under this folder called employee under James. Okay, right now there are no files within that folder, so let's load a file. So to copy the file, the command is copy from local and give the path of the local file, which is employee.txt. So using this command, I'm copying the local file called employee.txt to the HDFS location called user James employee. Okay, so it's copying the file. So let's go back and check that location. Now you can see the file in that location. So I moved my file to HDFS. So let's log into Hive. Alright, I'm going to copy the URL. If you are using HortonWorks sandbox, this is the URL. You're connecting on the port 10,000. Alright, we are connected to the Hive. Let's check the tables. Just make sure there is no table called employee, because that is the table we're going to create. So I'm going back to my, actually I can copy the code from here. So I just want to copy and paste this code, and before copying and pasting, let's go through this the whole code. So we are defining, let's look at them side by side. So this is the data that we have. So we are defining the data types as a string for the column called name, and the second column is the integer, the employee ID, which is integer, and the third column we are naming it as a workplace, and it is array of strings. So the third column, which is this one, this is an array of strings because it has two strings, and you can access each string using the index. So that is the reason I am defining it as an array. And the gender and age, we are calling it as a structure because we are giving some names. So for the gender, so for the first value we are defining it as a gender, we are giving a name called gender, and for the second value we are giving a name called age. So that is the reason you can see this this will represent the gender, and this will represent the age. So we are defining it as a structure, and we're going to call them using these column names. And the third one is skill score. We want to access that column by using a map. The reason we are defining it as a map because it is a key value pair. The key here is TB and the value is 80. Similarly, the key here is Perl and the value is 85. So it is defined as a map data type. So in the fourth one, which is a department title, we have a combination of two complex data types, which is map and array. Map because we want to define it as a map because we have a key value pair here. So product is the key. Under the product we have a value called developer comma lead. You don't see the comma here, but it's there. Okay, so you are accessing those arrays. You have two different values, and you can access each individual value using the arrays. So that is the reason we are defining two complex data types, which is map and array. So map will extract the, you can use the product as a map value, map key, and get the value in this one, and you can further split this value into developer and lead because it is defined as array. Okay, if you didn't understand this part, don't worry, we're gonna jump into the demo. It will make it clear for you. So the first step is to create the table. So let's copy this code, and here you can see the fields are terminated by the pipe value. So here this is an individual field, they are all separated by these pipe values, and the collection items are separated by the commas, and map keys are terminated by the colon. So as you can see, the map keys are terminated by colon, and collections are separated by the commas. Okay, as you can see everywhere. Alright, so let's copy the table script. I'm going to just paste the query over there to create the table. Show tables. Okay, we have created the table called employee, and let's load the value. So this is where we have loaded the table. So that is what, this is where we have loaded the file. So that is what we're going to refer to load the data from that file into our table. So using this command, we have loaded the data. So let's see the table. So we have the table, and the data is loaded into the table. So as we saw earlier, this value is defined as an array. Each individual value can be accessed by using the index. So let's type the column names, employee ID, and here the column name is workplace. And to get the first value, the index is 0 because array starts with a 0 index. So I want to call it as a workplace 1, and I want to copy the same thing, workplace 1. So let's copy this one, and I want to call this as a workplace 2, and the index is 1 here. Okay, so I will add other columns too, but for now let's check the data. So something's wrong. Workplace 0. Okay, I didn't put any comma between. Again error. Select name, employee ID, workplace 0. workplace 1. Okay, the workplace name itself is wrong. Workplace. All right. Okay, we are good. So as you can see, the value called Montreal and Toronto, they are split into two individual columns, and the column names are workplace 1 and workplace 2, the same names that we have defined here. So let's add a few more columns. So that is how you access the array. So the next one is gender and age. We have defined this one as a structure. So the way we access the structure is by giving the column names. So here we have defined the column names as gender and age. So let's call using the same gender, age. So gender is the first column, age is the second column. So now we can see the values in two different columns. So that is how you can access the structure. So for the structure, you're giving the column names. For the arrays, you're giving the index. So the next one is key value pair. We have defined the column called skill score as a key value pair. The key is the first value, and the second value is the actual value. So let's say I want to give the key as Python. So what is the column name? The column name is skill score. Skill score, and I want to give the key as Python. That's the name of the column. Again, error. Skills score Python. Cannot recognize input name. Okay, the syntax itself is wrong. It should be before from, right? I don't know what I was doing. Skills score Python as Python. Okay, so here we are seeing the values wherever there is a key called Python. So here it is appearing at this third row, because if you look at the actual data, the Python is here and the value is 18. So that is what you're displaying, the Python value here. Similarly, if you want to access the sales, HR, and everything, you can give those individual column names, sorry, individual keys. So maybe I want to add one more. I want to call this as a sales. So I want to add one more column called sales. So now you'll see the values wherever we have sales. So now you are seeing within the fourth row, because if you look at the actual data, the sales is in fourth row and the value is 89. So that is what you're gonna see here. So that's how you access the key value pairs. And the last column is combination of a key value, which is map, and arrays. So let's see how we can access that one. So if you consider this whole thing as a key value, here the key is product. So that is what we're going to use to access that column. So the column name is depart underscore title. So let's give that column name here, depart underscore title, and the key name is product as product. So here if you look at the column called product, you have two different values in the first row, which is developer and lead. So as we have defined the data type as a employee, so as we have defined the data type as combination of map and array of strings, we can access each individual element by using the array index. So here, what if I want to access the first element, which is developer, just give the first index, I want to call it as product 1, and just copy the whole thing and repeat. This will be product 2, and the second element I can access by using index 1. So now these two values are separated into two individual columns called developer and lead. So that is how you can access each individual element by using these complex data types. Let's say this is like a flattened structure. Here these values cannot be split further, so it is a pretty flat structure. It's a properly normalized table. So let's say that if you want to store these results into another table, you can write just access the previous query, and here write create table, give some table name as I want to call the table name as TMP underscore results as. So here we are taking the whole query and dumping the results into a table called TMP underscore results. So it may take a little while because it is building the map retrieve program to take the results and dump it into another table. Okay, only the mapper is running because we are not reducing anything. Alright, so now the results are dumped into another table. So let's check the table. Okay, this is how you are loading all the results into another table. Okay, so that's it for this session, and thanks for watching the video.